You literally can't get it wrong if you listen and stick only to what has actually been said, whilst carefully, of course, paying attention to what's not been said or clarified. We can cleanly listen to someone explain a situation, experience, or event, and we can easily avoid making assumptions by using only the words and the structure that they have used to work out what is being conveyed and what it means. If you're clever and linguistically well trained, you will quickly realize that what they've said thus far will be pretty much impossible to make any sense of because of the missing information. The problem we have as magnificent human beings is our ability to quickly process data. When a word is used, to understand it, we must see a picture of it in the form of an internal representation. This is what we think it means. And if there is very little in way of detail in the description, which we will unlikely have noticed, we will see exactly what the word means to us, which will be far more complete and detailed a picture than the word or words actually could have created. If I went for a lovely walk outside, you would see me because the word I is present in the sentence. You would see me walking because the word walk is in the sentence. And here's where it starts to get a bit squiffy, because you'll have to see me walking in a space. The word outside is not defined, but your picture will be. There's also a very good chance it'll have been further skewed because of the presence of an adjective adverb modifier, the word lovely, which is giving meaning to the word walk. There is no way of you knowing what a lovely walk is for me. You will only instantly see what a lovely walk is for you. A walk could have been on the beach, in a park or a forest, by a riverbank, up a mountain. It could even be in the city. There will also probably be a representation of weather. Because the word lovely, there's a good chance in your picture it'll be sunny and maybe even warm. You may even also have imagined other people with me. This picture happens in nanoseconds and will be so complete that later in the conversation, there may be an additional piece of information that becomes jarring or contradictory to that picture in your head. It all becomes a bit confusing. You might well believe that they had actually told you the detail that you saw and accuse them of now changing their story. Because I have a vivid imagination and a bit of a mercurial mind, I try to sort of green screen in my mind's eye so as to ensure I notice and acknowledge only the nouns and thus can be clearly aware of the missing information. Another technique I often use to avoid assuming is I test myself with all of the options that are possible based on what I've actually heard. I quickly run through a myriad of options and meanings it might have, and usually I'm using humor to keep it entertaining. So let's quickly unpack existence for the statement, I went for a lovely walk outside. I exist because I'm in the sentence. A walk, which is a verb disguised as a noun, exists, and we know it was outside rather than inside. The walk has been given a bit of a vague flavour, so we can say the concept of lovely also exists, though we don't know what that means. And that's pretty much it. We don't know the length of walk in way of time or distance, when the walk took place or where the walk took place, whether I was alone or with others. And the lovely part is at risk of throwing you a bit, as you will only at this stage have an idea of what a lovely walk is for you. For me, it could be walking through the dark, foreboding foothills of Mount Doom in Mordor. We've absolutely no idea. Notice with even this very simple sentence, all the places where you could have easily and unconsciously filled in the blanks. You'll have seen and experienced a far more complete representation of the experience than the information has actually conveyed. I really do love listening for and gathering interesting statements every single day, as it not only entertains me, but it also continually trains my ear to be highly aware of only what has actually been said. This very much piques my interest in finding out what it truly means, whilst also stimulating my mind to ask questions to uncover what's not yet been said. Only just this morning on TV, I heard an interview with Angela Rayner, denying, not very convincingly I may add, about being associated to a government leak. And she said that she has a strong opposition to people leaking what the government is up to. The interviewer let it pass, but I would have been very interested in asking questions around that structure, as to me it could have been an unconscious leak on her part as to what could possibly be a negative. Asking the right question in the right moment can very much destabilize a person who just said something very interesting unconsciously. Asking for the detail and meaning of what exists in the moment will get far more detail. The government and our awareness are up to something. So what is it that the government are up to? Perhaps up to no good. Another lovely example I heard last week was one of my clients told me that they were playing music and their 4-year-old child said, "That song makes my heart feel sad." Now the risk is, there is, and indeed was, an emotional reaction. But from an existence perspective, what do we actually know? The only things that exist are a song playing, a child, and their heart. If you got anything else other than that, you're making it up. There's a very interesting and perhaps important presupposition of awareness, a feeling of sadness, but notice in this structure, it was dissociated. As far as I know, hearts pump oxygenated blood, and they can't feel sad. The assumption that could have been made is that the child feels sad, but we don't know that because they didn't say that. And you would have to ask some very, very clever questions to ensure that you didn't install that. Now, here are some other examples of existence. Now, making sure you remember you're recognizing and utilizing the presuppositions of existence, and it's all about the nouns, the actual word, or perhaps a verb disguised as a noun being in the sentence. We can only say it actually exists for this person if they have actually said it. Anything else is going to be an assumption. I have a performance-enhancing gadget fitted to my bike. Now note, we know there's a gadget, but I have no idea what it is or what it does. We also know I have a bike, but we don't know whether it's push bike, exercise bike, or motorbike. Now, I have one of my bikes in a picture behind me, but I may also have all of these three options. But in this sentence, you do not know which one is being referred to unless you're making assumptions. Here's another one. My house is very comfortable. Note, we know I have a house, though don't know what sort of house, or whether I rent it, own it, or even live in it. Notice it's a house, not a home. Also notice there is awareness of it being comfortable, but we have no idea what that means. And another one, my partner and I are looking to change a few things. Now, no, I have a partner of some type, but we don't yet know if I'm talking about a business partner, sports partner, romantic partner, or spouse. We equally don't know whether they are male or female, or even if that's relevant. Notice from my example of my client's child earlier, I purposely didn't reference a gender for either of them. And of course, the word things. This hints at a collection of nouns, but we have no idea what they might be. Listening for existence means just that. You're acknowledging the nouns without attributing your own meaning to them, if they are indeed lacking that detail from source. We'll be getting to awareness and adjective-adverb modifiers in later videos. But for right now, train your ear to metaphorically green screen the nouns. As far as speaking for influence goes, we can certainly introduce positive existence and should do it carefully, and only in a way that gains unconscious agreement. We must pay very close attention to the starting point. If a person is being weighed down by sadness, We can't simply suggest they are now being lifted up by happiness. Notice again the verbs being disguised as nouns. We would want to start to change the concept of how sadness exists for them. Think in terms of stepping stones, chaining anchors for those trained in NLP. Could sadness possibly be morphed initially into, say, disappointment as a new starting point, for instance, and be accepted? We'll be discussing this in far more detail in later videos. For now, it's all about practice. You're in charge of the conscious concept that I've been sharing with you. And to further master it, you'll want to train your ear to automatically pick up on all existence. This is called unconscious competence. And this level of mastery and expertise only happens through repetition. Here are just a few statements I've had noted down from clients over the past few weeks. See if you can read them, picking out only what exists and recognize what you can say with any certainty about them, whilst making no assumptions. Also notice what is incredibly interesting about the structure and think about what you would want to ask and how you would go about asking it. And from today, start collecting some great examples of your own and maybe share them for discussion in the comments below. So what do you think about these? My sister has always been a terrible woman. I couldn't care less about what they think. Things never seem to work out for me. Recent events are actively undermining my career. Those dark and destructive thoughts are always there, pulling me down. I'll write these down in the video description below for you to have a closer look at. We'll talk in far more detail about leveraging presuppositions for speaking with influence in a series of videos I'll be creating in the future. So for now, in recognizing the benefit of that, and if you are indeed finding this content helpful and of value, please do like and subscribe, and we can learn, evolve, and create positive change together.